Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor of the Tenkar's Tavern blog. By the way, uh, videos like this are brought to you by your master minions, T. Taylor and Climbing That Mountain. Thank you for supporting the channel, gentlemen. It's really appreciated. And you can support this channel for as little as $1.99 a month. Now, let's get into the video. Um, if you watch this channel, you watch our live streams, you're probably not watching other live streams on Friday night, but the Philadelphia Area Game Expo does a live stream on Friday nights. And one of the special guests from this past year sent me this video last night, and then they timestamped it and said, you don't need to go through the whole video, but there's one point where you got to start watching. And I was like, okay. And let's take a look or listen.
Unfortunately, during the poverty period in the later 70s, I had to sell both those puppies. But yeah, they go for around a 10 to 15,000 each these days.
So Frank is answering questions. This is Frank Mentzer. He's our special guest. And he's answering questions from Ron and
the Martins that I had. Oh, well.
Okay, so...
Or comments. It's actually a comment that's coming up.
James is the winner of our $25 Frog God Games gift card. And, you know, I'm going to... We have a few closing comments here directed at Frank. One is, you've always been available, Frank, and you walked around and you sat down and talked with people. It is noticed and well appreciated, and that's from Troy Allman.
And by the way, if you are a special guest at a gaming convention, right, you shouldn't be locked away in some special area where you're only taken out certain times. You should be walking the floor. And I will say this, Frank walked the floor, the vending area, I think multiple times, stopping to talk with people. Listen, Frank and I have our issues, but I give Frank credit where credit is due. He goes out there and he schmoozes with the gaming public. It's what you should do if a convention is taking care of you. If you are a guest of the convention or a special guest, right? We call them what? Attendees if you're buying a badge. But if you're a special guest, you're there to make the convention better for the regular attendees.
From Cannibal Publishing. I second that.
I feel that most guests should be doing this.
I think Frank says most guests, and I think he's only saying most guests because he probably is like, well, I'm older, maybe at the point where at some point I won't be able to make those rounds. But yes, if you can, you should.
They're incurring minimal expense. Your
guests should be incurring minimal expense. All right, well, what does that mean? Well, traditionally, how it generally is, if you're going to a gaming convention and you're invited as a guest, as a special guest of the convention, you get your badge is generally comped. Usually, you get a room, unless it's like ShireCon, where the venue is a VFW. There's no hotel attached to the venue, but usually you get a room. Now, sometimes you're sharing that room with another special guest. I've seen that happen with certain guests. Some guests are flown in. Some cons give a stipend. I believe North Texas gives $100 stipend in addition to what the special guests give to help with their expenses.
Probably putting them up with rooms at the very least, and some
So Frank is saying that the guests should be are probably being put up with rooms at the very least. And why is he saying at the very least? Because he's going to talk about uh, guests being flown in.
some cases flying us in, or
An instant flying us in. Now I know Total Khan flew in Don Samora with the Tower Games and his wife this past February to the con, and of course covered their room. I know that because Don's a friend of mine.
covering the car costs when folks are carpooling.
Covering gas or tolls or whatever. That's if you're a special guest, you're getting a stipend. That's what the stipend would be going towards, probably.
And this year, I'll bet you get a lot of that.
The key word there is in some cases.
The key word there is in some cases. Now, I was at Central New York Con earlier this month, and I know Central New York Con had 4 special guests, and our rooms were all covered. I shared a room with my wife, Rach. I didn't have to share it with Joe Block. I would have gladly shared a room with Joe Block, so long as we had, separate beds. But Roger was kind enough to give me a room so my wife could go. Same was at WizardCon. Don had 11 special guests. Everyone was housed, given a room. Some of the special guests were flown in. Their flights were covered. So, some cases.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just in certain rare cases. No, it's a young con. You got to watch your budget. No.
That's right.
Now, by the way, and I'm still speaking with Bad Mike from North Texas. If you are running a convention and you're running it with hotels that are securing room blocks for you, that are giving you discounted rates for your attendees, you are also being comped rooms. So, generally speaking, most conventions keep their special guests, their guests numbers within those comped room numbers. So, you get these comped rooms. It's not costing you money to give these rooms out to those that are coming to your convention to make it a better experience for people. But if you don't give out comp rooms, or if you have too many guests, right? If you invite too many guests, I guess you go beyond those comp rooms, and they don't get rooms.
So we do what we can for our guests, and we look at every situation on its own merits when making those decisions. But Frank, thank you for being with.
So that is from yesterday, Friday night. There we go. So again, I've spoken with Roger. I know he had 4 rooms. Don had 11 special guests. Some of them were flown in at the expense of the con, and that, by the way, is not part of what the hotel gives you. That has to come out of the convention budget. North Texas, I know, flies in some of their guests. Not all. There are tiers of guests, right? And I do know that some people go, "Hey, listen, I don't need a room. I live locally. I'll be going home every night, but Or they even go, you know what? I want you to use that room on. So you can bring in another special guest, and if you can, that's fine. But I do know at Page, this past January, there was confusion at my hotel. Now, I am not usually a special guest at conventions. I'd already reserved a room, and I didn't know how it was going to handle, so I had a room. But a number of special guests and I call them special guests, but I guess guests, who were much more influential than me, much more important than me, in my humble opinion, didn't have rooms. Now I know of at least one special guest that was asking the con staff prior for their room reservation, and they had trouble getting that. But um, there were people who, when they went to North Texas, were told after, like, well, where are you staying? We didn't see you last night. Oh, I'm staying at another hotel. It's like, you're a special guest. We have a room for you. You should be using the room we have for you. Oh, well, that wasn't the case at, at, at Page. These things need to be explained to people ahead of time. If the culture of gaming conventions is to comp a room for your guests, and you're not going to, then that should be clear. It wasn't clear this past January. Okay, I was happy that I had a room. Actually, I had secured a nice room. I had secured a room that actually had like a living area beyond just the bedroom, with a fold out couch. And I offered it to another guest that didn't have a room. They wanted to find them a room, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes away. But it was a bit of a cluster. Page was fine. But if you're expecting folks to do what Frank does, now I'm sure Frank talks like this because Frank has always had a room comp and always been flown in, and he should be. He's the old guard. He is one of the founders of this hobby, and that's what you'd expect. But if the culture is that's what you should expect, and you're not going to give what's expected, yeah, well, obviously that's how you can have a much larger number of special guests if you're not comping their rooms. You're not, flying people in from long distances. For me, I did, as of September, I'll have done 6 cons this year. Next year, unless something comes up, it's different. We're going to be at 5, and of those 5, I go to Total Con because it's a backyard con. It's like a vacation home for me, and they are nice enough to comp my badge as a media person and Rachel's badge. We've always gotten our own hotel room. I'm not a special guest. I go there with very little responsibilities. I'm not a special guest. WizardCon. WizardCon has invited me back as a special guest. I'll be running games this coming year. I'll be running the auction. I'll be involved in the process, and I'll comp the room. North Texas is inviting me as a media guest, which is a version of their special guest, but I guess because I do this channel and the whiskey tasting. I'm going to be comped a room. Central New York Con, I've already talked to Roger. He's invited me and Rach back. Special guest. I'm going to be running games. Comp to room. And then ShireCon. I'm sure I'll be going back as a special guest next year as I am this year. But ShireCon's running at VFW. There are no rooms to comp. You gotta get out there and find yourself someplace within 5-10 minute drive, which is fine. And that's on your dime. That's a small con. It's like 125, 150 people. What I don't get is Page is going to be booming doors at over 2,000 people this year, and you can't comp your guests when small cons like Central New York Con with 200 attendees and Wizard Con with a little bit less than 200 attendees can comp guests and cover airfare. I don't get it. I mean, Frank gets it. Frank, he knows what the expectations are. as a guest. So I'm just observing. I mean, it's strange bedfellows when I look at Frank Metzner. Well, again, we both have issues with each other, and I got to go. Wow, I those are words of wisdom and truth that um, were good to hear. So, tell me what you think. I mean, and listen, again, I've been attending cons for well over a decade, and I've gone on my own dime. I've never had a comp flight. Um, until recently, never had a comp room. Um, but it becomes like a limit, right? I mean, these are expenses that are incurred. If conventions want you there because they think your presence is going to improve their experience for their attendees, maybe even bring more attendees in, but definitely you're there as a positive. What do you think the proper compensation should be? Right? I mean, for me, I can't justify more hotel rooms than I need during the course of a year. I'm happy to attend. I want to see my community. I want to see other gamers. This is what I thrive on. But you know, there comes a limit, and I'm on the same page as Frank. Wow, holy crap! All right, so on that note, huge thank you to all the subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please do. Please catch inappropriate characters re-rolled on Rumble. Just put that into the Rumble search. Inappropriate characters, you'll find us. I believe it's tomorrow at 7 p.m. And we will see you on the flip side. Be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice. No, the thing. I might have already said the thing. If I didn't already say the thing. Later, folks.